Hiya. I'm going to talk about spirituality. I know a lot of people can reject spirituality. It's very easy to reject because you're associating it with different aspects of religions, and then we start looking at extremists in religions, and all this stuff kind of comes up in the system and in the collective consciousness. We're aware of it, right? And it can cause resistance in the body. So I just want to reframe it in a way that it just makes it kind of really tangible and understandable. What we're talking about when we talk about spirituality is actually love. It's just love, but it's not romantic love and affectionate love and emotional love. It's unconditional love and acceptance. And what's the reason that we tap into that is because all our programs and our behaviors and our patterns and the things that cause us to suffer and run these destructive patterns in our lives are all based on coping mechanisms, on programs that were installed at a really young age. And those programs are installed fear-based installations to keep us out of fear and trying to get us love. So try to keep us out of danger more than anything. Try to keep us out of danger and get us what we believe love is, which is actually safety, we think. Right? This sort of love we're going for, though, is actually based on generally what we experienced of our parents or our parental figures. So let's say like mum and dad used to argue, then we believe that's what love looks like, and that is what the brain and the programs are now trying to get for us. You know, that a mirror of that relationship. So you can see how that's like that's kind of doomed to fail straight away. It's not what we really want. So our behaviors and everything are trying to get us the thing that we actually don't really want. And what spirituality is real love, unconditional love. Like, how many people can actually love unconditionally when you think about it? And when I say unconditionally, you know, if someone's like, a murderer, or, you know, they've done really bad things, or a robber, and, I don't want to tap too much into these dense energies in this talk, but you know what I'm talking about. There's behaviours that people will express that make them generally, by 99, probably 0.9% of the public, unlovable. Because humans are very, very incapable of unconditional love. There's always some sort of conditions, because we learned that as well from our parents. So this naughty step thing, you know, putting the kid on the naughty step, it's really destructive, because what that's actually doing is making love conditional. It's saying, when you behave this way, I love you and you're safe. When you don't, I don't love you and you're not safe. Therefore, you need to be this way. And the way you're telling them to be is based on your own. It's a really selfish thing to do, to be fair. It's kind of it's selfish in that you're saying, you annoy me when you do that. When you express yourself in this way, it annoys me. Therefore, I withdraw my love from you, so that you believe that that part of you is not acceptable. And then and this is what's happening, right? This is what a lot of parents are doing to the kids. It's what happened to us. Love became conditional. We'll all remember that look that we got from our parents sometimes, like a scolding look, and it was a look that said, you're annoying me, or you're not good enough, or I'm disappointed in you, or you're making me angry right now. All these looks and that tonality, and maybe little phrases that come up that you remember as a child. These are creating a massive inner conflict. They're like creating programs of, I'm not good enough. And this all leads into shadow work, which we've spoken about, and parts and things like that. We spoke about this in other videos. That love is conditional, and that is what our brain is trying to get for us as well, is what mum and dad projected, and what we interpreted from their projection of what they believed or what they were experiencing. Because we just assume mum and dad love each other, and whatever is going on there, that's what's happening. But it's also what's happening internally with our masculine and feminine sides. So like if respect only went one way in that relationship, mum and dad's relationship, or parental figures, obviously, not always mum and dad. If respect only went one way, it only goes one way inside. So we then experience rejection of our masculine or feminine aspect within as well. And that can actually work both ways. So let's say they both didn't respect each other, or let's say mum made out that dad was a dangerous tyrant. Wait till your dad gets home, then you'll be in trouble. Dad's the fear, right? He's the thing that's to be feared, and he's violent, or is, you know, it can be nasty. It instills fear, which is the representation of the devil himself. Is evil and fear. It's the same thing. So then you're really demonizing that masculine aspect within you. And then you might think mum's an absolute pushover, and dad might tell you, you know, act like a real man if you're a man, you know, act like a man. Don't be, you know, stop being such a little girl, stop crying, blah, 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 man up, all these stuff. And then you become in resistance to the feminine aspect because you see it as weak and not good enough. So then you've got this massive rejection of self inside. And all this is based on what we believe love is. Like that's what our brain is trying to get us, is trying to bring us like a carbon copy of what our experience of it was as a kid. So the spiritual journey is letting go of that. But I think there's a saying, and I'm going to paraphrase it because I can't remember it exactly, but it says, you know, to replace a model, you don't have to destroy it. You just replace it with a better one, so the old one becomes redundant. And this is what we're doing on the spiritual journey. We're tapping into a higher consciousness, a higher level of love, an unconditional love, where we realize very, very deeply and profoundly that we are lovable, and that all our programs, we were subject to them at a very young age. They were installed before we had a say so. You know, before we had any choice whether or not to take them on board, they were given to us and we don't even remember it happening. And so we've been running these patterns. So how can we not forgive ourselves for the things we've done when we realise that it was a program that just ran itself? And, you know, we can't judge our past selves by who we are now, because we didn't have the information back then and the awareness that we have now. We didn't have all those different reference points. You know, when I was a kid, I'd you know, kill an animal, you know, like a worm or a slug or a spider or something, or a fly. You know, you buy fly spray, kill flies. And it doesn't seem like a bad thing. But then as you kind of get older, and a lot of people you'll see, they won't want to do, you know, they'll take a spider in a glass or a jar or something and put it outside, and it feels nicer to do that. You know, you feel better about yourself when you do it, and you have these new references. Maybe you saw somebody else doing that and you thought, what a nice thing to do, and then you took that on board. But we can't then, you know, judge ourselves for killing them when we were younger, because we was in a different space. We didn't have these reference points. We didn't have these experiences of seeing other people doing that. And so when we tap into this divine love, it's the spiritual journey, all is forgiven. We realise that we are loved despite the conditions. There is a space within us that loves unconditionally. And it's that then makes the programs redundant, because they no longer need to go out and get love, because there's a better version that you already have when you tap into it. And you don't tap into it by thinking your way into it. You do practices. I mean, don't get me wrong, the thinking, we create the conditions in the mind, which is what a lot of my videos are about. Creating the conditions where you go, yeah, I get it now. Now I'll do the practice. We need to convince and bribe the guards. Like I say, in hypnotherapy, that's what we do. We bribe the guards. We take the conscious mind offline by either confusing it or relaxing it, or bribing it and giving it the right information, so it goes, I trust this person, I feel safe, this is for my own good, yes, I'm going to go offline now and give access to the unconscious. And this is what all this information that I share is doing. It's giving the conscious mind, it's pacifying the conscious mind, pacifying the resistance and the fear-based programming that's trying to protect you. It pacifies it to the point where it goes, okay, I'll give you access to what's underneath. And then you start to do the meditations and the breath works, and you start to move towards other practices and deeper states of calmness and inner peace and all that stuff. So just to give you a moment to integrate that, let's take a couple of breaths together. In and out. I get giddy when I talk about this stuff, so this is as much for me as it is for you, but it allows you to receive the information as well. In and out. Breathe out for a little bit longer than you breathe in. Oof, feels nice. That's what spirituality is. We're tapping into a better version of what we believe love is currently. And the more we tap into it, the more we realise there's a better version of reality where all our, deeds are forgiven, all our hurts start to heal, physically, mentally, emotionally, it all starts to heal itself. Because when people say love is a healer, that's what they're referring to. It's the transcendence of the programs that were causing the thing that needs to be healed. So let's replace it by doing some spiritual practices. And if you want to reframe it, call it a love practice. A practice of tapping into higher levels of forgiveness and love and compassion and acceptance. And to do that, we just still the mind, take the conscious mind offline a little bit through breathwork, through meditation, through yoga, mindfulness, through focus, presence. Like if you immerse yourself in, like I'm an artist, I like to draw and do portraits, and just you're really in that moment doing that detail offline. You're not thinking, you're only thinking about that. Again, that's meditation. Or if you are a dancer, or if you're a musician or a singer, or if you do chanting, like the Om, sort of chanting, again, it creates a vibration, it gives you a place to put your focus, and it creates healing inside by gently easing the conscious mind offline and giving access to the unconscious, so that you have breathing space, the traumas can be accessed, and we slowly build a bridge between the conscious and the unconscious, between where we are now and where we want to be, between our limited perspective of what love really is to what love really is, the divine and unconditional essence of life itself, divinity. So I'm going to finish this little talk with a little practice so that we can tap into it together. So what I want you to do now is just clear your mind. We're going to go empty, empty, empty. This is just a real short, nice little meditation where I say all your stories, all your programs, all your ideas about who you are and where you've been and what life is and what it means and what this person represents and what this represents and that represents, and all that noise that goes on in the head, we're just going to exhale and let it all just fall away. You can pick it up later. It's not going anywhere. It'll still be there. Just let it go for now. And just feel. Don't interpret the feelings, nothing to do there. Take away all labels, all ideas about everything, thoughts and beliefs. Just let it all fall off. And just feel into what's real right here and right now. It might be the weight of your backside against the chair or the floor, wherever you are. You can feel that. That's a real feeling right now in this moment. You can hear my voice. That's real right now in this moment. Doesn't have to represent anything. Just let every idea about everything fall away. And right now in this moment, what is the problem? Where is the problem? Right now in this moment, without any conceptualization. Really sit with that. Without going into one single story or thought or idea. What is the problem? right here, right now. We're not trying to find an answer, we're sitting with the question. Because to try and find an answer, you have to go into thoughts and stories. But just sit with the awareness of how could there possibly be a problem right here, right now. And breathe. And as the mind wanders, just let it all fall off again. Empty. Empty of everything. The more we can tap into this space of emptiness, we realise that emptiness is not empty at all. It is full, and it's full of unconditional love. It's the absence of everything that's not love. You're accessing complete non-judgment, complete acceptance. That space does not judge you in any way, shape or form. It's not hurting you in any way, shape or form. And the more you tap into it, the more you're going to find your connection to that amplified. So it becomes a little bit more a part of your awareness each day. And we get distracted from it, of course we do, you know, you're cooking or you're cleaning and you're working or you're deep in conversation or you're busy, you've got something on your mind, you're having to do something, and you know, we can get wrapped up in those patterns. But then we can just every now and again, you know, snap out of it for a second. Oh, it's just this happening. I'm just doing the washing up. I'm just cooking a meal. You know, because your mind might be wandering into spaces that are just not desirable, not healthy. It's about being present. This is how you find unconditional love. And this is how the programs start to fall away. It's only part of the journey, it's not the whole journey, because we want to get the programs out of the nervous system and out of the body using practices. And it's so much easier to quieten the mind once you relieve yourself of the programs in the body that control the thoughts and that give you those thoughts in the first place. So it all works together nicely, and I will be sharing with you these cleansing techniques and information about it, as well as the practices themselves, so that you can cleanse the body system, so the mind will automatically become quieter. So I hope this video finds you well, and I'm here to get this out to the world, this stuff, just to everybody who resonates with me personally, because this is not new information. It's, you know, it's out there. This particular thing, you might listen to like Eckhart Tolle or Mooji, and you know, as many spiritual teachers talk about this stuff, but not everybody resonates with those guys, and there'll be people that resonate more with myself, because I'm just like your average Joe, and I think the more people see different people sharing this information, we start to, you know, they find the people that they resonate with, and it lands in front of the right people, and the message gets out. So if you can like, share and subscribe, that's like the video, YouTube likes that, it brings it up in you know, in the searches, and you subscribe, and the more subscribers I have, the more that appeals to YouTube's algorithms, and the more you share it, the more people we reach. And now is a really good time to reach as many people as possible with really positive, loving messages of self-connectedness, connection to the deeper aspects of who we are, to get out of the rat race, not just physically, but the rat race of the mind as well, and what's going on in there, and drop into the heart, the body, the soul, the intuition, the divinity within. That's that divine spark we all have. So thank you for staying with me, if you stayed with me for this long. Loads of love on your journey for the rest of the day, and I'll be back tomorrow with more stuff, all love-based stuff. Alright, thank you. Take care.